Oh my God, you guys, come and sit down and shut the door. I got some tea. All right. I had to do a little research, but I found it. Let me get to the point. Remember when they said that Toni Braxton secretly got married to Birdman? All right. That was already weird. But remember, there was an interesting tidbit that she filed for divorce about 2 weeks later. But then they decided to stay together and work it out. Well, baby, we think we found out who and what that was about. And you're never going to guess. Unless you read the title, then you already guessed. Girl, Kimora Lee Simmons. Kimora Lee Simmons and Birdman and Toni, baby, they are calling this a low self-esteem triangle. My sources came out and gave me a little tea. Now, again, this is alleged. Take it for what it's worth. But I went to Instagram, TikTok, and also I hit old-fashioned Google to see if there was any truth to this. And baby, there was more than enough proof. 2014, Birdman called Kimora the love of his life. On top of that, there was rumors that she's been messing around with him even when she was with Russell Simmons. Y'all, let's get into this because this is deep. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the most shocking thing. Toni literally was left waiting at the altar for hours for Birdman to show up and say, I do. Now, listen, I looked at Toni, I looked at Birdman, and I said, I think Toni got the upper hand. But then again, I look at Kimora Lee Simmons and Birdman, and I'm like, well, don't Kimora got the upper hand? But apparently, Birdman and his millions got the upper hand. Now, I was asking everybody, how much money does Birdman have? Because you are funding Toni's lifestyle. She'll look the other way. You're funding Kimora Lee's lifestyle. And this is what they said. Yo, remember that $100 million contract that happened with Cash Money? Lil Wayne was supposed to get 50% of it. However, Birdman took Lil Wayne's profits. You know, he did something funny with Drake's stuff. Remember how Kendrick was like, show me your splits to split with my splits, and you signed to a ninja that signed to a ninja, right? So he got some of Drake's money. The early Drake, the Drake that keeps making us wave our hands and dance. He got some of Nicki's money. He got definitely all of Cash Money's money, and he got Lil Wayne's money. So what does that mean to you? He's rolling in money. Now and again, I said, okay, but all money ain't good money. So listen to what happened on the wedding day. And then we're going to get into the related blind items and also the multiple media stories that's been all over. Okay. So they said, right? They said that on the day of the wedding, Birdman arrived late and told Toni to her face that he had to leave and take care of something. Listen, mind you, he came into the wedding on that dumb stuff. He came in being like, yo, come on, let's do this. But I got to leave and take care of something quick. I mean, I wasn't there, but it sounds on brand. And then they said he flew out to help Kimora, who he is also funding. And that's what he told Toni to her face after they got married. So she was standing there waiting for hours to get married. He came in, was like, come on, I got to go help Kimora. And then as soon as that happened, he flew out of there to go help Kimora. Girl, I know. He literally, after he married her, left her at the altar. But here's the real gag, right? Why did Toni go along? Well, this is why Toni filed 2 weeks, because here's the thing. They're saying after they got married, and I put my ear to the street, Kimora was trying to flex. She was trying to let Toni know he's my man and he's always going to be. Well, he might always be your man, but you were still not his wife. But that said, Kimora might be like, I ain't marrying that mofo. Because at the end of the day, Kimora was allegedly seeing Birdman after her divorce from Russell Simmons. And she secretly got married to Tim Lesnar because even though Birdman was funding her lifestyle back then or supporting it, Tim was the big fish they have. They're saying that they don't know if Kimora's in love and she can never change the relationship from, funding on the side to the number one funding, or if she just wants a certain type of man on her arm that got money, and Birdman is just her dirty little secret. I know. Listen, they said this is, and the timing is really weird because this was at the beginning of the Diddy stuff, okay? Woo! Birdman didn't even try to apologize for leaving for that wedding. His own wedding. He just dipped out. Now, listen, let me read y'all the blind item I found about this, and then I'm going to read you the related articles that were printed in 2012, 13, 14, 15, and 16 that co-signs all this. I know this is some tea. Thank you so much, Mama, for dropping this tea in my lap. You know I appreciate it. Shout out to the realest and the illest. So here's the related blind item. All right, y'all ready for this? A bride, a jet, and the billionaire's bills. She stood there in white, heart racing and heels clicking against the marble floor. But he was late, and not fashionably late, just disrespectfully, right? The word is the groom, a reclusive hip-hop mogul with a history of leaning harder than a Dr. Seuss character, arrived looking like he crawled out of a tour bus crash and mumbled something about having to take care of something real quick. Now, again, that whole leaning harder, I think that's Birdman, because don't forget he was pictured on stage at some Cash Money reunion tour, literally leaning on stage looking like something. Okay? Now, he did marry, right? What's something, you ask? A certain baby fat original who used to rule the runways and red carpets before her empire crumbled under tax liens and tuition bills. That's who. He literally, just hours after ghosting his bride, and flew straight into the arms and bills of the fashion icon turned full-time fun seeker. Because let's face it, no one else is willing to bankroll her legacy heiress lifestyle anymore. She's got an Ivy League daughter with yacht girl resumes and bills that make Dubai royals wince. But there's only one man dumb, loyal, and dusty enough to step up to the plate. The same one who's allegedly sleeping on stages now and losing the plot more quickly with every passing week. And the bride, baby, she's saying nothing, because she too cashes those same checks. Meanwhile, the daughter, a once promising scholar, has been spotted looking very, Uncle introduced me to this life. Uncle Russ introduced me to this life on Caribbean vacations with questionable characters old enough to be her grandfather. People close to the scene say it's a vicious cycle. Old money, new tricks, no shame. So while most of us were side-eyeing the headlines about fallen moguls and unsettled lawsuits, this triangle was playing out behind closed doors, funded by one man, tolerated by both women, and dragging the next generation into the same sinking ship. Woo! Listen. They said once a Grammy-winning soul singer who's too classy to clap back but too dependent to walk away. One's a mogul who once rapped about respect but now flies coach to Monaco for mess. One's a model mama who went from mogul wifey to mogul beggy. And one's a daughter who really should have known better but never had the chance. All right, so that's that. But listen to the evidence I found. For one, the related article. Okay, in 2014, Birdman called Kimora Lee Simmons the love of his life. Okay, they said rumors sparked like crazy that Birdman and Kimora Lee Simmons were dating after the Cash Money CEO posted a picture of the two on his Instagram page. He captioned, "Shout out to official Kimora Lee." He tagged her, "Love of my life. Thank you for everything you did for me. Rich girl, rich gang." Many after that started to wonder if, in fact, Birdman was calling the famed Mama 3 his lady in the post. But this is not the first time these whispers have sprung up either. Kimora has also starred alongside Birdman last year in Rich Gang's Tap Out video. Okay, so that was an article from 2014. But there is more. Okay, they said, remember when Kimora Lee and her family were frolicking on the beach during the holidays with an unidentified man? It was at that time investment bank Tim Lesnar, we found out, conned Kimora into marrying her. He's literally a government witness because he defrauded the sovereign fund of Malaysia. It's kicking my butt, right? They were frolicking on the beach during the holidays with an unidentified man. Many said that he was just a friend and that he and Kimora Lee were not an item. According to Russell Simmons, not only is he more than a friend, he's Kimora's husband and has been her husband for a while. The fact is, Kimora is happily married. Tim has been family for a while now, he tweeted. Only one problem though. No one, this is an article from 2000, whatever. No one told Birdman. Here's the scoop. Birdman and Kimora's relationship runs deep. The two have been leaked together for several years. Kimora's appeared in several Cash Money videos. And Birdman has tweeted his love for Kimora in the past, and Lil Wayne has even dropped her name in lyrics. Birdman is completely smitten by Miss Kimora Lee, but he never put a ring on it. Why he never put a ring on it remains a mystery. Earlier this week, Birdman posted an Instagram photo of he and Kimora, referring to her as the love of his life. This article was written in 2014. Listen, they said, ladies, we've all been there. We got a man on the side who's been down with us for years. But for whatever reason, a committed relationship just doesn't happen. So what do? We move on. Let's also not forget that I believe in 2014, Kimora Lee called Keisha Cole a buffoon after getting arrested for fighting over Birdman. First of all, why would you care what Keisha Cole's doing? Anyway, right? They said just months ago, Kimora Lee Simmons was rumored to be dating Birdman, but the lies were shut down after it was confirmed she was happily married to billionaire Tim Lesnar. So is Birdman Kimora's sneaky link? Although Kimora is married, the beauty is still being connected to the drama, so she took to her Twitter account to fire shots at Birdman and Keisha Cole's catch fate mess. Listen, I do want to say this, and I think it's super, super funny. What y'all think is going on? Now, nobody knows if Kimora is romantically involved with Birdman, but I am saying that when we find out, I would not be surprised. Birdman has been around for a while. He calls that girl the love of her life. She started many videos. Why do you think that Toni now has him? So basically, it seems like Kimora maybe wanted Toni to know that like he will always be her man and that she will always have him. But I think the reason why they never got into a committed relationship is because I think Kimora thinks Birdman is a bad look. We see Tim Lesnar. We see Kimora, I believe, is on hard times. And she wants to be admitted back into that fabulously wealthy circle. And that fabulously wealthy circle is not admitting Birdman, whether he's worth $1, $2, $3, or $5 billion. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, y'all, that's the tea. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm going to try to get some more tea. Maybe this explains Aoki gallivanting and frolicking with that old man on the beach. But I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.